Why and hello there, and welcome back my fellow pixelators. As you know, in the last Minecraft Pixel Tour build on Jiriya, we completed the entire outline, and now we're going to be moving on to the shading. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to split this up into two parts. So today, in the first part, we're pretty much going to do everything down in the shoulders, down this little clothing piece down to here, to the neck and probably the face. And we're probably going to leave the headband and the hair for two separate parts. But we may get the headband done today, but probably most likely not. So without further ado, let's explain the blocks that we're going to be needing for this build for today, or just overall actually, because there's only a couple blocks we need extra. So for all the blocks we're going to be using light grey concrete, red terracotta, light blue terracotta, black wool, grey concrete, white terracotta, terracotta, red concrete, bone block, and we're also going to be needing a white wool, light grey wool, and then these three blocks here, we probably won't be using these blocks today, but we're just going to grab these blocks as well, because these are all the blocks for the entire build, so there's no point leaving them out. And we're going to need brown terracotta, light grey concrete powder, and our grey wool. And again, we probably won't be using those three blocks. So without further ado, once you have grabbed all those blocks, there'll be a list on the screen if you can pause the video at any time to grab all of those blocks. And for the first area we're going to be going all the way to the left hand side where we started off with, and we're going to be doing the little bit in the left corner right here on the shoulder. So flying over to here, in this area right here, we're going to be using our light grey concrete, and what we're going to do is we're just going to fill all of this in with light grey concrete. If you are new to the shading, usually what I'm just going to do is I'm not going to fill all of this in now, I'm going to fill this all in at the end. So all I'm going to do is just put a bit in here, just to remind you where the area is. So again, I'll cut to this at the end. I'm not going to cut like now or anything. I'll just cut to it at the end of the video. So there you go. All the light grey concrete is going to go in there. Now moving on to the clothing, into this part here. All inside here, as you can see, inside up into there, all down here, it's all going to be filled in with our red terracotta. So once again, I'm not going to fill all of this in until the end. I'm just going to do one line so you can remind you of where the area is. So if you want to pause the video, you can fill all of this in now if you want to in your own time, or if you want to wait to the end until you got a reference and you know where everything else is, then you can do that. You can do it anytime you want, so you can pause the video anytime you want. You don't have to do it when I do it. But for those that do want a reference, you would have to wait to the end to see the end result, or you can just look at the thumbnail or so, but it would be better looking at the reference at the end. But again, if you want, you can always cut to the end point where this part is being shown, and you can pause the video there, do that, and go back to the part where you were. But it would be a lot easier just following through to the end, and then pausing the video then. But again, without further ado, moving on to the next part. This part right here, you can see between the hair and between the clothing right here. So this little gap here, it's going underneath this gap here. This gap right here is going to be light grey concrete. So take out our light grey concrete, and we're just going to fill this gap in. So once again, just going to do the bottom line and do a bit inside here, and then a bit on this side here. So light grey concrete's going to go all inside up there to there, and inside there up to that point there. So then once you've done this, moving on to the next area. This area right here, so this clothing right here, this clothing is going to be filled in with our light blue terracotta. So all these little shapes here, it's going to be all light blue terracotta. So if I just go from the very bottom, and starting from here, as you see the light grey concrete on this side, if I just take my light blue terracotta, we just fill into this gap here. As you can see, we filled in there. Again, I'm just going to go all the way to the end, just like so. And we're going to fill in the next gap. And then we're going to fill in the next gap. Then we're going to fill in the next gap again. And then fill in the next gap. And there's a little two gap here. And then there we go. Once you fill in that last two gap there, you are done with that. So light blue terracotta is going to go all the way inside up here to here, and it's going to end at this 2 right here. If I fill in this 2, you know what, we must have filled in all of this right side here. This is a nice little short area, which may look a bit easier to see where it ends off on this side right here. So there you go, the light blue terracotta, as you can see, is going to end right there, and above there is the hair, and this part is sticking out to the right here. This is part of this part, and this part is different colour. So in this part right here, we're actually going to need our black concrete again, because there's a couple of a bit that we left off of our black concrete, which we need to do. So we're going to take out our black concrete, because we're going to need that block as well. And once you've taken out your black concrete, fly over to that one that's sticking underneath the hair so it goes down to here. And once we fly to here, we just want to place another one going underneath from here. We don't want to place one to the right, and then we want to place two underneath from here. So 1 and 2, and fly back all the way up to the top, so back up to the right corner here, and then place one on top, just like so. And there we go, we're done with the black concrete, so we don't need that anymore. So we can get rid of that, take out back our blocks again. And once we have done that, we'll take out our black wool, and we're going to shade in with the black wool, because we've got two areas to shade on top of here. So we've got the grey concrete and the black wool. So once you've taken out your black wool, for the area we're going to be shading is, we're going to be flying over to that singular bottom right diagonal on the top line here. So as you can see, this top line above, that goes into the neck. We want to be flying to that singular bottom right diagonal on the left side right here. So fly over towards here. Once we've flown over towards here, taking out our black wool, we're going to place one going underneath here, just like so. And then we're going to do a bottom left diagonal. And from this bottom left diagonal, do a bottom right diagonal. And then from this bottom right diagonal, we're just going to go all the way down, because we don't need to count, because we already know that we've done all of this correctly. So just go all the way down until you hit the ground, just like so, to the black concrete. And there we go, we're done that area. So now what we're going to do from here to what I usually do is, we've still got another area of the shade. Actually, before we move on to that area, let's fly over to the left corner. As you can see, these two up left diagonals right here, we want to fly over to the top one. Once we've flown over to the top one, take out your grey concrete and place two on top, 1 and 2. And then fly back down to the bottom, so to this first grey concrete that we placed on top right here. And then do a bottom right diagonal from here with our grey concrete. And then there we go. Once you've done that, what we're going to do is, with our black wool, we're just going to outline a top of the grey concrete. So if we just mark it out like this, and then there you go. As you can see, black wool is going to go inside here, all the way into here, inside here. And then we're also going to take out our grey concrete. And what we're going to do is, we're going to do exactly the same as that, but we're going to do it on the right hand side over here. So we're just going to outline the black wool, just like so. So there we go. Basically what this does is, this basically shows which area is going to go in which area. So this basically, for those that never done pixel art before, my channel before, this is how we usually shade in. So grey concrete is going to go all on the right hand side down here, and as you can see, black wool is going to here. So this helps us mark out the area, and it also makes sure we don't spill over. And what I mean by spilling over is, if we were placing black wool all in here, you might have accidentally gone over into here, which you don't want to do that. That's why the grey concrete's there, to show grey concrete on the right side, and you don't spill over. So with that note being said, moving on to the next area for shading. So again, also, as I said before, light blue terracotta is all inside up to there, all inside the rest of these gaps here. Grey concrete the rest, black wool there, and grey concrete is also inside this gap here. So we just want to get a bit of grey concrete and fill this in as well. And you know what, we might as well just fill it all in now. And at least attempt to anyway. There we go. So that's all filled in there, as you can see. And this is hair, we're not touching that today. And so for the next area, as you see underneath that grey concrete and to the right of the light blue terracotta, there's a gap right here. And this gap's going to be filled in once again with our light grey concrete, as per usual. So without further ado, let's go and fly and just fill in the bottom line of this area. And then once you have done this, we're going to move over to the right, so into this right shoulder here. Once again, exactly the same as the other side. Red terracotta is going inside here, and as you can see, this is part of the shoulder. As there's a one gap at the bottom right here. So just with our red terracotta, all the way to the right. And then once we hit the black concrete, which we should hit it soon, there we go. In this little small gap right here, once again, as I said, exactly the same as the other side, so just light grey concrete inside here, and there we go, that area is done right there. So this was the less complicated area, quite simple, because that's just one colour, that's one colour, that's one colour. That was not really complicated, but just slightly, I guess. There's a bit of a lot of patterns there, so it's kind of hard to tell where each area goes, but you can see where it goes now, as we have marked everything out. So moving on to the next area where we're going to be moving on today, is we're going to be moving on to the neck. So for the blocks we're going to be doing for the neck, we're going to be using our white terracotta and our terracotta. So without further ado, we're going to fly over to the area that we're going to shade. And for that area of the shade, to make things nice and easy for us, we're going to fly over to that where we place that one black wool going underneath. But we want to fly above it. So fly all the way here, and as you can see, there's one black concrete that we place underneath this one singular bottom right diagonal here. We just want to fly on top of it now. And once we've flown on top of it, we want to place one terracotta on top and do a bottom right diagonal. Then fly back up in an up left diagonal direction by one. So back to this terracotta that we placed on top. And we're going to place another 16 going up from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. We don't want to do an up left diagonal from here. From this up left diagonal, do an up right diagonal. From this up right diagonal, place one to right. And then we're going to do a bottom right diagonal. From this bottom right diagonal, place one underneath, just like so. And then we're going to do 4 bottom right diagonals from here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there we go. On this 4th bottom right diagonal, we're going to fly in the bottom right diagonal direction by 1. So to this black concrete right here, so there's 2, and we're underneath it. And we just want to place 1 terracotta underneath this 2, just like so. Once again, we want to fly in the bottom right diagonal direction by 1. So to this black concrete right here. And once again, we want to place 1 underneath for the 2 right there, just like so. So we should be looking like this so far. Flying back to that terracotta. Once again, we're going to fly in the bottom right diagonal direction by 1. So back to this black concrete here. But this time, we're going to place 1 terracotta going to the right from here, just like so. Once we've done this, we want to fly in an up left diagonal direction by 1. So to the top of this black concrete, as you can see, it's in line with this terracotta here, about to the left. But on top of this black concrete, we're going to place 1 terracotta on top, just like so. And then we want to place 1 going to the right from here, just like so. From this one that we just placed to the right, we want to do 4 bottom right diagonals. So 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And there we go. We should be looking like this so far that we've done right there. Once you have done this, fly back to that 4th bottom right diagonal that we just did. So back over to here. Once you've flown back over to here, place 1 going to the right from here. And then once we've done this, we're going to do another 4 bottom right diagonals from here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. This time from this 4th bottom right diagonal, we're going to place 3 to the right from here. So 1, 2, and 3. We're then going to place 1 going underneath. Then fly back up by 1, so back up to this right corner right here, and we're going to place 3 going to the right. So 1, 2, and 3. And then once we've done this, we want to do an upright diagonal from here. So from this upright diagonal, we want to place 1 to the right, and then we want to do 4 upright diagonals. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. On this 4th upright diagonal, we're going to place 1 going to the right, just like so. We don't want to do another upright diagonal. Then from this upright diagonal, we want to do a bottom right diagonal, just like so. And then from this bottom right diagonal, we're going to place 1 underneath, just like so. Once we've done this, we want to fly all the way down to the bottom to this black concrete right here. And so we want to place 1 to the left, just like so. Once again, once you've done this, we want to fly all the way down to the bottom, this black concrete, and place 1 to the left. And then once again, we want to fly all the way to the bottom. So to this one right here, and we want to place 1 to the left, just like so. We then want to place 1 underneath, and place 1 to the right, and fly to the left by 1, place 1 underneath, and place 1 to the left, and then place 1 on top. So we should be looking like that right there. Once we have done that, we want to fly to that one that we just placed to the right. So we're going to fly to this one right here. Once we've flown to this one right here, we want to do 2 upright diagonals from here. So 1, and 2. And the second upright diagonal, place 1 on top, just like so. Then we want to do 3 upright diagonals from here, so 1, 2, and 3. And this third upright diagonal, place 1 on top, then do another upright diagonal. On this upright diagonal, place another 1 on top, and then do 2 upright diagonals from here, so 1, and 2. And the second upright diagonal, place 1 on top, just like so. And then we want to do another upright diagonal from here. And from this upright diagonal, place 1 on top, then do another upright diagonal. From this upright diagonal, place 1 on top, and then do another upright diagonal, and place another 1 on top. Once you've done this, do 2 upright diagonals from here, so 1 and 2. From the second upright diagonal, place 1 on top, just like so. And then we're going to repeat this 2 here 3 more times in the upright diagonal direction. do another right diagonal, place one on top, that's one, another right diagonal, another one on top, that's two, another right diagonal, another one on top, and that's three. And there we go. Once you've done this, we're going to do another right diagonal from here, and then from this right diagonal, we're going to place one on top, and one to the right, and then there we go. Once you've done this, as you can see, all the rest in the bottom right here is going to be filled in with our white terracotta, and all above is going to be filled in with our terracotta. So once again, once we've done this, we're going to take out our white terracotta. We're going to do the same as we did with the grey concrete and the black wool. We're just going to mark everything out on the underneath. So once again, we're going to outline all of this just like usual. So with our white terracotta, we're just going to mark it all out just like so on the underneath side, as white terracotta is going in on the underneath. So again, just like what we usually do for those that are used to doing pixel arts on my channel. So we want to fill that gap in as well, right there, as you can see. Because we would have just left that gap if it was just terracotta. Also with those gaps, you can always kind of actually tell where the white terracotta does go, but for those that don't tell, I always do show those areas. We want to make sure we get all the terracotta. Don't want to make sure that we've even got a single piece that is showing. We've got a lot here to do. We're almost done though. And then final piece. And there we go. So as you can see, white terracotta is all going underneath inside this gap, and terracotta is going all up in the rest above it, just like so. So before we move on to the next area, we just need to fly over to the left a bit. So as you can see, there's a hair strip right here, but we got a small gap right here and to the left. That gap is just going to be filled in with all our terracotta. So let's just fill this in right here. We might as well fill in the whole thing because there's no point leaving it, as it is only a two-liner, just like so. So there we go. Once we have done this, we're going to move on to the next shading area, which is going to be the face. So moving on to the face. So for the first area of the face, we're going to be flying down to the bottom line first. So this first line right here, we want to fly all the way over to this line first, and we want to fly all the way over to the right of this 3 right here. So fly all the way to the right here. And once we've flown to the end of this 3 right here, once again, we're going to be using the same blocks. We're going to be using our terracotta and our white terracotta. Obviously, we do have a bit more for like the red concrete going down, but we're going to be using terracotta and white terracotta for now. And with our terracotta, we're just going to be placing 2 to the right from the end, and then fly to the left by 1. So back to this first terracotta that we placed to the left. And we want to do a bottom left diagonal from here. And from this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place 2 to the left, so 1 and 2. Then we're going to do another bottom left diagonal. And from this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place 17 going to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. And there you go. As you can see, there should be a 1 gap in the end right here. And we're also not quite done yet. We want to fly all the way back up. And once again, we want to fly to that 3. The black concrete, but we're going to fly to the really left of it, so to right here, and we're going to place 5 terracotta going to the left from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And there we go. Once we've done this, we're going to take out our white terracotta, and we just want to outline it again, just to make sure we don't spill over. So all the terracotta is filled in here, but again, we don't want to make sure these don't spill over, so we're just going to fill this over. And there we go. Don't really need to get this part, but why not? So that's that part there done. So then moving on to the next part, we're going to be flying to the left, where as you can see we've got the bend here of the mouth, and we want to be flying over to the underneath of that 3. That's like flat, just going up. So fly over to here, once again with our white terracotta and terracotta. So we're going to be using our terracotta first. We're going to place 2 going underneath from here. So 1 and 2. We then want to place 1 to the right, then fly to the left by 1 and place 1 underneath. And fly back to that one that we placed to the right, so back to here, and then do a bottom right diagonal. Once we've done this, we're going to take out our white terracotta, but we want to make sure we only fill in certain areas for here, because the red concrete is right here. So we want to fill this one gap that's like going up inside the terracotta. So fill that with our white terracotta, and then also fill this bottom right diagonal here, and then you can place one to the right. But we don't want to fill to this underneath of the furry or to the left of it because red concrete is going underneath here. So we're going to leave that part and we'll come back to that in a second. So for the next area, we're going to fly over to the nose. And for the nose, we're going to be using our white terracotta and our terracotta. And we're also going to need our bone block for this area as well. So for the first part of the nose we're going to fly over to, we're going to fly over to the left of this nostril right here. So to the left of this furry in total right here. And we want to place one terracotta going to the left from here. We don't want to place one underneath. We don't want to do a bottom right diagonal. From this bottom right diagonal, place one to right. And do another bottom right diagonal. From this bottom right diagonal, place one to right. And then do another bottom right diagonal. And to this bottom right diagonal, place three to the right. So 1, 2, and 3. We don't want to do 3 upright diagonals. So 1, 2, and 3. From this third upright diagonal, place one to right. We then want to follow up by one, so top of this black concrete right here. And we want to do an up left diagonal from here. So you place one in the middle of this 3 right here, just like so. And once you've done this, we want to do another up left diagonal from here. And from this up left diagonal, we're going to place 2 to the left. So 1 and 2. We then want to do a bottom left diagonal. From this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place 2 to the left. So 1 and 2. Once we've done this, we're quickly going to take out our white terracotta. And with our white terracotta, we're going to place 3 going up from here. So 1, 2, and 3. And then once we've done this, we're going to take out our bone block. Now once again, for those that have never used the bone block before, if you haven't done any of my other builds before, with the bone block, we're going to be careful how we place this, because we want to make sure we're placing it going up and down. So just for an example, I'll show you a quick example. We should be looking like this with our bone block. So as you can see, it should be going up like this. So the top bit, as you can see, is like up like that. And we don't want to place it sideways like this. So I'll show you what it looks like sideways. So there you go. As you can see, it looks really different sideways. And that is because of, as you can see with the bone block, it's got like a dark shaded bit on the right and like left hand side. So when you place it sideways, it's going looking like that. And that just makes the build look completely wrong, and it doesn't make the build look good. So you want to make sure you're always placing it going up and down and not sideways like so. Because if any of your blocks like this, it would make your build look really ugly and just doesn't look correctly. So always make sure you place it up and down. So again, just destroy these now. So from here, we're going to place 3 bone blocks going up from here. So 1, 2, and 3. Once we've done this, we've got to do an area to the left. But as you can see, you can't really place your bone block going to the left, because if you do that, as I said, it's sideways. And we don't want it sideways. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get like a placement block. And if we basically just like fly underneath by 1, so to this second in the middle of this bone block, and just place a random block here. So like our red concrete, as you can see. And take out our bone block. And then we're just going to place 6 bone block going up from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And there we go. Once we've done this, we'll just basically, to make things as easy as possible, just fly back down, destroy that red concrete, and then fly back down to the 3 bone block that we placed going up, so back to here. And then once we've flown back to here, we just want to place 6 going up from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as you can see, it's 1 hovering over the other side. Then there we go, we're done right there. So again, your build should be looking like this with the bone block. It should just be going up, just like so, and none of them going sideways like that there, as you can see. So once we have done that, we're going to fly back down to the terracotta, so back down to here. And once we've flown back to here, we want to do an up left diagonal from here. From this up left diagonal, place 2 to the left, 1 and 2. And then finally but not least, do bottom left diagonal from here. And there we go. Once you've done this, as you can see, all terracotta is going to go inside this gap inside here. And white terracotta is going to go over the outside. And we also want to make sure we get the bone block as well. So let's shade this all out. So luckily with the bone block, that's all we have to do. That's everything. Usually though in other builds we use the bone block quite a lot, especially for Sasuke. For Sasuke, usually for Sasuke skin tone, bone block looks really nice for it, so we use that a lot. But it's also really annoying because it takes really slow to place, because as you know, we only can place it up and down, so we can't place it sideways. And placing it sideways makes things a lot faster, to be honest, especially at like certain angles, depending on the shape of the area that you have to shade in. But yes, luckily we don't have a lot of it to do. So there we go. There's that area done right there. So moving on to the next area for shading. We're going to move over on to the eye with the terracotta. So we're going to do all the terracotta and white terracotta first. And then we're going to do the eyeball. And then we'll do the red concrete after. And then we'll be done with today's build. So flying over to the left eye first. We want to be flying over to this line on its own right here that comes down. So not the eyebrow. We want to be flying to this line on its own. That's right here at the bottom. And we're going to fly to the very bottom left diagonal from this line that's coming down. So fly all the way down to this bottom left diagonal. Once we've flown over to here, once again with our terracotta, we're going to place 2 to the left from the bottom. So 1 and 2. We then want to place 1 on top. And then we want to do an upright diagonal, just like so. And from this upright diagonal, we want to place 4 on top. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we want to do an up left diagonal from here. From this up left diagonal, we're just going to place 1 on top. And then we're going to place 3 to the left. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to place 1 on top and then 1 to the left. And then there we go. We're done with that area. So terracotta is going to go all on the right inside here. And white terracotta is going to go on the outside. But we just want to make sure we only layer this up by 1 on the left. Because there is part of the eye here as well. So there you go. So terracotta is going to go all inside the right there. And terracotta is going all on the left. But once again, as I said, we've got the eye to do. But we'll come back to that. So we've got a bit more area to do on the left hand side. So we want to be flying to part of the eyebrow that's coming up here, as you can see. So this up left diagonal on its own right here. We're going to be flying over to here. Once we've flown over to here, we're going to take out our terracotta. And we're going to place 2 going to the right from here. So 1 and 2. Then fly to the left by 1. So back to this first terracotta that we placed to the right. And we're going to place 1 on top. And then we're going to place 2 to the left. So 1 and 2. We're then going to place 1 underneath. And place 1 to the left. And then once we've done this, we're going to place 1 on top, just like so. And then we're going to place 6 to the left from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to do a bottom left diagonal. And from this bottom left diagonal, place 1 to the left. And there we go. Once again, terracotta is just going to go up in these gaps here. And white terracotta is going to go underneath. So we just fill out the white terracotta. And then there we go. And you can fill in the terracotta if you want as well, as it is just a small little area. And then there you go, you're done right there. So while we're here as well, might as well say the eyebrow. The eyebrow is all going to be filled in with our light grey wool. So we go and take out our light grey wool. And we'll also take out our white wool as well, because that would be useful. Want to make sure you keep the black wool though, just get rid of like light blue terracotta or something. And just fill this all in with light grey wool. So this 1-2 gap above it though, that is terracotta. So we fill this in with terracotta first. There you go, as you see, we're looking like that. And the rest inside there is light grey wool. So we just fill this in. And then there we go. So once we've done this, we're going to do this top part here with our terracotta. So taking out our terracotta, we want to fly to the left of the eyebrow that we just did right here. And we want to fly to the up left corner, as you can see right here. So flying over to this left corner right here. Once we've flown over to here with our terracotta, we're just going to go all the way to the right from here. And there we go, we're done with that area. So all terracotta is going to go inside that gap there, all the way up here, in this 2, in this 1, just like so. And it's also going to be in this 1 here. And then from this actual area as well, we just need to quickly fly back over to the left. And we want to make sure we fill in the white terracotta underneath. So let's just mark this out. And then there we go, once we've done this. And just fill that 1 gap as well there, might as well. And then once we've done this with the terracotta, we're just going to fill those gaps, just so people don't get confused. So we're just going to fill this 2 gap, this 1 gap on top, and skip that, and to that 1 gap there. So there you go, it should be looking like that. And again, terracotta is all inside the rest of here now, and inside there as well. So moving on to the next sector, as you see this big line coming down here, we want to fly all the way to the top of this line. So to this very up left diagonal right here. And once you've flown over to here with our terracotta, we're going to place 3 underneath. So 1, 2, and 3. Then place 1 to the left. And there we go, we're done. So take our white terracotta, place 2 underneath. Just like so, so fill that gap in. And then we're done right there. So once again, going to move over to this squiggy line coming down here. Taking out our terracotta, so to the very bottom right diagonal, the 2 right here. Once you've flown over to here with our terracotta, doing a right diagonal. When it's up right diagonal, place 1 to the right, then place 1 on top, and then place one to the left. Once we place this one to the left, we're going to place one on top, then fly underneath by one, so back to this one right here, and then place two to the left, so 1 and 2. Once you've done that, fly back to that one that we placed on top, so back to this one here, and we're going to place 2 on top from here, so 1 and 2. We're then going to do an upright diagonal. From this upright diagonal, place 2 on top, so 1 and 2, then place 1 to the right, then fly to the left by 1, so back to here, and place 1 on top, then fly back to one that we placed to the right, and do an upright diagonal. From this upright diagonal, place 2 to the right, so 1 and 2. Once you've done this, we'll take out our white terracotta, and we'll do an upright diagonal from here, then place 1 to the right, and take out our terracotta, and place 3 to the right, so 1, 2 and 3. And there we go, we should be looking like this right here. So before we mark out the white terracotta, we want to do another terracotta line up in here once again. So for that area, we're going to be flying all the way to the right hand side to this singular, or 2 bottom right diagonals here, but that one that's sticking out was sticking out to the left from this big line here. So flying over to the second bottom right diagonal right here, with our terracotta, we're going to place 2 to the left from here, so 1 and 2. We're then going to place 1 on top, and then we're going to place 7 to the left from here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And then we want to do a bottom left diagonal from here, just like so. And then from this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place 1 to the left. And then from this one that we just placed to the left, we're going to fly to the left by 2 from here, so 1 and 2 to this black concrete right here. And place 1 underneath from here, then do a bottom left diagonal, and then there we go, we're done with this area. So once you've done this, white terracotta is going to be all shaded on the bottom here, so in this bottom left diagonal gap, all the way going up to here. But once again, we just want to leave that one gap right here of terracotta. So to the right of here, we just want to leave this because light grey wall's here. So we take out the white terracotta, we just mark this area first and show you a quick example what we should be looking like. There we go, so we should be looking like that. So we're leaving that one terracotta just there because to the right is going to be a bit of light grey wool and white wool. And then as you can see, terracotta is going all on the left here. And this gap right here, this is going to be filled in with our white terracotta. So just fill this gap in. And then we want to mark these areas out here. Just like so. And then there we go. So as you can see, in these gaps right here is going to be filled in with our terracotta. So again, if we want to take out our terracotta, we can just fill this gap in because it's nice and short. And then there we go. So once we have done this, we have filled in all the terracotta and white terracotta. Well, we haven't filled in all the terracottas, we've got to fill those 2 gaps in. But that's all the outlining done for the terracotta. So once we have done this, we're going to move on to the eye. So for the eye, we're going to be needing 3 blocks: black wool, white wool, and light grey wool. So without further ado, let's start with the black wool first. And we're going to start with our left eye, as we always start, usually on the left hand side. So let's fly over to the left hand side. And for the area we're going to be starting over on the left hand side, we want to be flying all the way to the right from this big line, but all the way to this 3 right here. So as you can see, this 3, and we're going to be flying to the left of it right here. So underneath the very right of the big line, as you could say as well. Once we've flown out here with our black wool, we just want to place 1 underneath here in this gap. Once we've done this, we want to do 3 bottom left diagonals. So 1, 2, and 3. On this 3rd bottom left diagonal, we want to place 1 to the left, and then we want to do 2 left diagonals. So 1 and 2. For the 2nd up left diagonal, place 1 on top, just like so. Once we've done this, take out our white wool and place 2 to the right from this one that we just placed on top. So 1 and 2. And then once we've done this, all inside this gap right here is going to be filled in with our black wool. So we just fill inside this gap right here. And there we go, we're done with this area right here. And now for the shading in the eyes. So we're going to take out our light grey wool, flying all the way over to the left, so into this very corner right here. With our light grey wool, we want to place 2 of them to the right from here. So 1 and 2. We then want to place 1 underneath, and fly up by 1, so back up to here, and then place 2 to the right, so 1 and 2. And then once we've done this, taking out our white wool, we're going to place 1 underneath from here, and then we're going to do 2 bottom right diagonals, so 1 and 2. Once we've done this, we want to place 2 to the left, so 1 and 2, and then we want to do an up left diagonal, and then from this up left diagonal, we just want to fill in these 2 gaps, just like so. So there we go. So red concrete is going to come into that gap right there, and then move it over to the right hand side of the eye, so still on the left eye, but just on the right hand side, flying over to the first black concrete that we placed, or you could say this first bottom left diagonal here as well, flying over to here, taking out our light grey wool, we're going to place 4 going to the right from here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then do a bottom right diagonal. And taking out our white wool. From this bottom right diagonal, we're going to do a bottom right diagonal with our white wool. From the light grey wool, just like so. And then we're going to do a bottom left diagonal from here. And then there we go, we're done with this area. So white wool is going to be filled in all the way to the left now. So just take out our white wool, let's see the left. And then on the right hand side here, where this white wool sticking out, just take out our white terracotta and just fill on the outside, just so we don't spill over. But we're already done with the white wool, as you can see. But it's just in case you get confused. And there you go. So moving on to the right hand side of the eye. And once we've flown over to here, to make things as simple as possible, once again, we're going to fly to the very top line, so this line right here. Flying all the way over to the left, so to the right of this middle line right here. Take out our black wool. We're going to place 3 going underneath from the very right of it. So 1, 2, and 3, just like so. We don't want to do a bottom left diagonal. On this bottom left diagonal, place 3 to the left. So 1, 2, and 3. Then do an up left diagonal. And from this up left diagonal, place 1 on top. From this one that we just placed on top, take out our white wool and place 2 to the right. So 1 and 2. And then once we've done this, all the rest inside here is going to be filled in with black wool. So we're just going to fill this in, just like so. Once we've done this, we're going to fly over to the right hand side first, and all the way into that right corner again. So to this right corner right here. Taking out our light grey wool, place 2 to the left from here, so 1 and 2. Then place 1 underneath, then fly back up by 1, and place 3 to the left. 1, 2, and 3. And then place 1 underneath, and then take out our white wool. And we're going to place 2 underneath, so 1 and 2, then place 1 to the left, then fly to the right by 1, and place 2 to the right, so 1 and 2, and then do an upright diagonal, and then there we go, we're done with this area. So this 2x2 square, and just fill it in with our white wool. And once again, we're going to leave this right hand side, because we got a bit of white terracotta, and a bit of red concrete here. So moving over to the left hand side of this eye, so still on this eye, but just on the left hand side of it. We're going to be flying to this one bottom gap underneath the 2 black wool here. Once we've flown to here, take out our light grey wool, place 1 in this bottom gap, and do an up left diagonal. From this up left diagonal, place 2 to the left, so 1 and 2, then place 1 underneath, and 1 to the left. Once you've done this, to the right of it in this 2 gap here, is going to be with our white wool, so just fill that in. And then flying over to the light grey wool, over here, it's just going to be filled in with our white terracotta, because we're done with the eye. And then there we go. Once we have done this, all we got to do now is the final part for the face, and that is the red concrete. So taking out our red concrete, I think for the first area we're going to start with, we'll start with the left eye, as we do always start on the left hand side. So flying over to here, and we're going to be flying over to the very bottom right diagonal of the white wool. So fly all the way over to here, and once we've flown all the way over to the bottom right diagonal of this white wool on the left hand side right here, we're going to place 4 red concrete going underneath from here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And once we place this 4 going underneath, we're going to do a bottom left diagonal from here. And from this bottom left diagonal, place 2 underneath. So 1 and 2. We're going to do another bottom left diagonal. And then from this bottom left diagonal, place 5 underneath. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then once you've done this, do another bottom left diagonal from here. And then from this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place 19 going underneath. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And as you can see, this 19th one is in line with the black concrete, just like so. And once we have done this, we want to do a bottom right diagonal from here, just like so. And in front of this bottom right diagonal, we want to place 7 underneath. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And as you can see, it's in line with this terracotta here. And once you have done this, do a bottom right diagonal from here. From this bottom right diagonal, place 2 underneath. So 1 and 2. Then do another bottom right diagonal. From this bottom right diagonal, place 2 underneath. So 1 and 2. Then do another bottom right diagonal. From this bottom right diagonal, place 1 underneath. Then do another bottom right diagonal. And place another 1 underneath. And then do another bottom right diagonal. And then there we go. So we're not quite done yet. So once we have done this, we want to zoom out. And we want to fly over to the left because it's only a short little red concrete. So it's not all red concrete at the left. So we've got to show the other side of it. And for the area we're going to go over to the start off. As you can see, this red concrete that is to the right of this terracotta right here. So this 7 that we place underneath here, we want to fly back over to the bottom of here, and we're just going to place all the way underneath from here until we hit the bottom of the black concrete, just like so. Once we've hit the bottom right here, we're going to fly up by 1 from here to this red concrete right here and do an up left diagonal from here. So I'm going to zoom out, so we should be looking like that right there. So if you want to, you can fill that gap quickly into the right, so I'm just going to fill this in quickly, just so it doesn't look too confusing for you. So just fill this in here, and then going back to this one that we placed to the left right here. And then once you're flying back to this one that we placed to the left here, we're going to place 3 on top from here, so 1, 2 and 3. We're then going to do an up left diagonal from here, and then from this up left diagonal we're going to place 4 on top, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. We're then going to do another up left diagonal, and then from this up left diagonal we're going to place another 4 on top, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. And you can see we hit the black concrete just like so. Once we've done this, we want to fly to the right by 1, so this black concrete right here, but then we want to fly all the way up to the top, to we're at the top of this black concrete right here, just like so. And then once we fly to the top of this black concrete right here, we're going to place 23 red concrete going up from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 and 23. Once you've placed 23 going up from here, we're going to do an upright diagonal from here, just like so. And then from this upright diagonal, we're going to place 4 on top. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then finally, but not least, we're going to do another upright diagonal. And then there we go. As you can see, that upright diagonal has just connected to the black concrete, just like so, underneath it. And then if you just want to place 1 to the right as well, so we fill that gap in, and then there we go. So, red concrete is going to go all inside this gap here, and inside that gap. So there's not really a lot, but as you can see, it does go into those gaps. And on the left-hand side here, and on the left-hand side here, and on the right-hand side, we're going to take out our white terracotta and we're going to mark out the area. So again, we're just doing this so we don't overspill. There we go. I'm going to fill this bottom left diagonal gap here as well. And fill in this left side as well. And then fill in the right side on the top right here as well. There we go. So there's that done. So as you see, red concrete inside here. So for the final area for the face today, we need to go and do the other red concrete on the other side. So let's fly over to the right hand side to those 2 white wool. And for the area we're going to be flying off to here, we're going to be starting on the right hand side this time. So we did start on the inner side, this time we're starting on the outside, on the outer edge. So we want to be flying to that 1 bottom left diagonal of the white wool. So some of these 2 bottom left diagonals, we want to fly to the very bottom one right here. So to the right of this black concrete line. And taking out our red concrete, we want to place 1 to the right of here, just kind of like so. Once you've done this, we want to place another 1 underneath. And then we want to do a bottom right diagonal, just like so. On this bottom right diagonal, we want to place 1 underneath. And from this one that we place underneath, do another bottom right diagonal. Then from this bottom right diagonal, place 4 underneath. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we're going to do another bottom right diagonal, just like so. And then from this bottom right diagonal, we're going to place 18 going underneath. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Once you place 18 going underneath from here, we're going to do a bottom left diagonal. From this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place 4 underneath. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. We're then going to do another bottom left diagonal from here, just like so. And on this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place 3 underneath. So 1, 2 and 3. We're then going to do another bottom left diagonal. And from this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place 4 underneath. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we're going to do another bottom left diagonal. And from this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place 2 underneath. So 1 and 2. We're then going to do another bottom left diagonal. From this bottom left diagonal, place 1 underneath. Then do another bottom left diagonal. And from this bottom left diagonal, place 2 underneath. So 1 and 2. Then do another bottom left diagonal, just like so. From this bottom left diagonal, we're going to place one underneath. Once we've done this, we're going to place one to the left from here. From this one that we placed to the left, we're going to place two on top. So 1 and 2. Then fly underneath back down to the bottom here. So this one that we placed to the left. And once we fly over to here, we're going to place two underneath from here. So 1 and 2. And then from the second one that we placed underneath at the bottom here, we're going to place one to the left. And then we're going to place one underneath. And then we're going to do two bottom left diagonals. So 1 and 2. Once we've done this, we're done with this area. So we're going to zoom out. And we want to fly to the one on top, sticking up right here. So fly over to here. Once you fly over to here, do an upright diagonal. From this upright diagonal, we're going to place two on top. So 1 and 2. We're then going to do another upright diagonal from here. And from this upright diagonal, we're going to place another two on top. So 1 and 2. And then we're going to do another upright diagonal from here. And from this upright diagonal, we're going to place another two on top. So 1 and 2. And then we're going to do another upright diagonal. And from this upright diagonal, we're going to place another two on top. So 1 and 2. Once you've done this, do another upright diagonal, just like so. And then from this upright diagonal, place 4 on top. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there we go. Once you have done that, do another upright diagonal from here, just like so. And from this upright diagonal, place 19 on top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And once you've placed 19 going up from here, do an up left diagonal. On this up left diagonal, place 4 on top. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then do another up left diagonal. And from this up left diagonal, place another 4 on top. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then finally, but not least, do another up left diagonal. And there you go. As you can see, the up left diagonal is to the second of this black concrete right here, sticking, if you say go all the way over to the right, the second one at the end right here, just like so. And then as you can see, red concrete is going to fill in that gap right there, all the way down into those other gaps as well, inside those lines. And then once we had done this, taking out our white terracotta for the final area, we're just going to mark out the area on the outside, on the right and left side. So mark on the left here. And there we go. So moving on to the right side here, on this white wall, again, now we can just fill it with our white terracotta on the outside, and then on the red concrete as well. And then we just want to fly underneath, get the underneath part. And then there we go. So there is everything filled in. Just feel like gappings is annoying me. There we go. So there is everything filled in right there, and everything explained. So now what we gotta do is we just gotta fill everything in. So again, as you can see, we've only done the shoulder, this, and this. So for the next part, we're gonna be doing and finishing the rest of the build, and we're gonna be finishing off the headband and the hair. But before we end this video, I've got to show you the end result and just show you what everything looks like. So a quick reminder, as I always do just before we end the video. So where everything goes, light grey concrete on the left little corner there, red terracotta, light grey concrete, all light blue in these gaps here up to that edge there, and then grey concrete on the right, and black wool on the left. Leave that gap because that's part of the hair there, as you can see, go up there. And then moving over to the right here, as you can see, light grey concrete. Inside here, red terracotta, and up in that side little gap there, as you can see, it's also red terracotta. Light grey concrete to the right there. Terracotta going up all inside here, and then like left here, and then up on the kind of right side here. And then white terracotta all underneath in those gaps right there. And then white terracotta is going all the rest inside the face, as you can see in all the areas that it's been overshaded out to. Terracotta inside that little nose part there. Red concrete inside those gaps in there as well. White terracotta to the left and right there. To the right up there. To the left up there. And then as I said, all in the rest here. And then terracotta in that gap in there. In that gap there. And then in that gap there. And then there you go. That's everything explained. So I'm going to go all the fly over to the left hand side just so you can see each area. So I'll give you a little close zoom in so you can pause the video for each area that's shaded in. and then I will give you a full zoom out after. So without further ado, we're going to move into the color shading in part. So if you want to pause the video right now and you want to fill it in for yourself and see the end result for yourself, then you can pause the video right now. But for those that want a reference, basically to make sure you don't go wrong and see my end result and then fill it in from there, then you can pause the video right now. And there we go. As you can see, we filled in all the light grey concrete. So if you haven't filled in this area yet, pause the video and fill it in. If you already filled this area in, then zooming out to the next area, as you can see, we filled in all the red terracotta inside there. So once again, if you haven't done this area yet, pause the video and fill this in. If you complete this area, move it on to the next area. So as you can see, the light grey concrete has been filled in these two sections right there, as you can see. So once again, if you haven't filled this area yet in, pause the video and fill this area in. If you already filled this area in, then moving over to the next section to the right, as you can see, all the light blue terracotta has been filled in those areas right there. So once again, if you haven't filled that area in yet, pause the video and fill it in. Also, you can also see above that we filled in all the black all to the left right there, and grey concrete all the way to the right. So once again, if you haven't filled that area in, pause the video and fill those areas in. If you already filled those areas in, then moving over to the next section, as you can see, the light grey concrete, we filled all of that in right there. So once again, if you haven't filled this in this area, pause the video and fill this area in. If you already have, then moving over to the next sector. So moving over to the red terracotta, as you can see, we have filled it in that underneath gap there, and then just getting the full thing in frame. And as you can see, we filled in all the red terracotta. So once again, if you haven't filled this in, then go and pause the video and fill this in. If you already have, moving over to the right hand side, as you can see, we filled in the light grey concrete. So once again, if you haven't filled it in this area, pause the video and fill it in. If you already have, move it over to the next area. So we're going to be moving over to the neck now. And as you can see, in the neck we have filled in all the terracotta above, just like so, in those areas where we marked out. And as you can see, all the white terracotta has been gone underneath and to the right, just like so. So once again, if you haven't done this area yet, pause the video and fill this area in. If you already filled this area in, then moving over to the next area, to the mouth, or entire face pretty much. And there we go. As you can see, we have filled everything in. So everything has been filled in with white terracotta on the outside. The nose has all been filled in with the terracotta. In also by the right and the left of the eye, so both the eyes, those little gaps are filled in. Above in the top of the middle of the head, that's also filled in with our terracotta. All the red concrete's been filled in. And also light grey has been filled in on the right eyebrow, which we didn't do. And as you can see, we filled that in on now. So once again, if you haven't done any of these areas, then pause the video and fill those areas in. If you've already done those areas and you are ready and you finish this, well, that's everything. So now we're just going to zoom out and get a full zoom out of the build. So in the next build, we're going to be doing all the hair and the headband. So not too much to do. There is quite a bit of shading for the hair, not too much for the hair, but there is definitely a lot of filling in for the hair. That's for sure. There's definitely a lot of that because, well, as you can see, there's a lot of detail in hair. And personally, I think this is probably one of the best builds that is, like, just turns out really nice, really smooth and just good looking. It's not my favourite build though, because it's not really like my favourite character. Definitely Jiriya is one of my favourite characters. It's just, I don't know, like, it doesn't really feel as a cool looking, but it's definitely a cool looking if you like Jiriya, for sure. And I like Jiriya. It's just, it's not, you know what I mean, it's just not as, like, epic, like, you know, Naruto in the Sage Mode, that feeling. It's just a normal Jiriya, as a sense. But it's definitely one of the best looking in terms of just how good it looks overall. Definitely looks good, just not the coolest or epicness. But really, it all comes down to what your opinion is. But again, without further ado, that is the end of today's video. So without further ado, the next part, and tomorrow will be the final part, and that will be filling in the rest of the headband and the rest of the hair. So without further ado, without wasting time, I'll see you in the next video. So peace out, enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye. And also, again, another quick reminder, just for those that wondering what the new build is. Next build is going to be Zara, next after that's 100 sub, and next after that's going to be Pain, and then some other suggestions after that. Again, without further ado, if you haven't hit the like button on this video yet, go and do that, and subscribe as well. And again, peace out, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.